friend, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a pretty robust wax only trash talk to share with you, about 3 to 4 months worth of both burning and melting. We have a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and dive in with the votive candles that I have finished off. So perhaps you recall, perhaps you don't, which is totally fine. Last year around the Valentine's Day season, I came across this DW Home. I think there were maybe 12, maybe not 12, but there were a bunch of these votives, these tiny single wick candles that were all themed around Valentine's Day. And I was super jazzed about it. And I ended up burning 1 or 2 of them and was very swiftly disappointed, and then sort of let them just kind of fade into the closet and not get burned. And then finally, I recently, in the last month, was like, nope, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and just burn through them and learn my lesson to never trust the tiny candles again. So let me go ahead and share with you the actual duds and then the 2 decent ones that I had. So I don't know any particular scent notes, just names. So there was Pink Prosecco and XOXO, which sadly had no scent and weren't necessarily the best, cleanest burners. I also, in that same category, have True Love and Love Letters. Again, so cutely themed. I'm here for it. I just wish that they had had some kind of actual scent. Then I did Strawberries and Champagne, did nothing for me. The only 2 that had a little bit of a scent that if I was focusing hard on, I could get was Dozen Roses and Hugs and Kisses. So sadly, I wouldn't say I frequent TJ Maxx, Home Goods, or Marshalls that frequently, but I never saw these in any other iteration except for in the votive collection that I came across. I would have loved to have some of them in a different, larger size in hopes of getting scent, but it does just teach me that I should not buy these because they don't have enough scent. And I kind of low-key knew that, but gave it a chance anyways, only to get burned by that outcome. Continuing on with candles, I have 2 other single wicks. So I have this one from Fortune Cookie Soap. It's the Baked with Love Whipped Candle. This was not great. It was a really dirty burner. It did burn all the way down, but it didn't really have any scent. I have to say, I feel as though I might stop getting their seasonal or holiday boxes. In the past, they typically do a Halloween, an advent calendar, and an Easter box. And I used to love them, buy them without thinking about it. They were really great. And then the price got significantly higher on them. And I just was finding that there wasn't enough top to bottom, either scents that I liked and or product type that I liked. And this is an example of that. Their candles have never been great performers for me. And this was one of the ones that it was poured very cutely. It had cubes of wax to create this cute little design. It looked like baked goods, but the wick was actually sort of pressed and jammed in to the point where I had to, with a lighter, melt enough of the wax to be able to pop the wick up and then burn it. And then it didn't really give me any scent. I am a glutton for punishment though, because I keep coming back to Fortune Cookie Soap's wax. I've yet to find either a candle or a wax melt that I really love the performance of. They just released squeezable wax, and I'm giving that a try because people in the Facebook group were raving about it, and I don't think people typically rave about their wax, but this was not a great experience for me, and it was one of those things I got in an advent calendar. I did skip out on the Easter box, which I at first wasn't sure I should do because it was Barbie themed and I was excited about that, but then when I saw the actual box, I was like, oh no. 3 of those products, half of those products, I'm not super in love with. I would have forced myself to have to use. So I'm glad I skipped over it. And I think I'm going to just skip over them in the future and kind of just pay attention to collections that they release. And if there are enough scents in that collection, I can just buy the actual products that I'm most excited about, because this just, once again, was not great. Last candle that I have is this replica candle. So last year for Christmas, I specifically asked for a sampler set from the Sephora collection. collection. They put out this similar to their mascara samplers. It was a bunch of little votive candles where you could cash in to get a full size for one of them, or like I say, like a full size, a certain size. And it was pretty pricey, but the actual candles that they were offering in there, it did work out in the sense of you could maximize your value. I actually ended up loving a lot of the scents that were in there, and even though they were pretty small candles. And as somebody who had never really dabbled with high-end or expensive type of candles, it was very appealing to me. So I ended up cashing in for the Replica by the Fireplace. This was such a lovely scent. However, bad, dirty, burning candle. It did go all the way down, but the amount of soot that came off of this thing, it was unpleasant. The scent of it was so nice. It really is a great version, like a stronger, a bit more sophisticated version of Fireplace by Bath & Body Works. But to be honest, you could get that scent. I don't know if you can come across just Fireplace and not Marshmallow Fireplace at Bath & Body Works, but either way, it's really just the Fireplace scent. It's a good one that you can get from Bath & Body Works. You don't necessarily have to spend the kind of money on this, but I liked it. I liked it enough to want to try the sampler set again this year, but the candles didn't change from last year to this year, so I didn't end up buying it or asking for it for Christmas, but I like the idea of it, and I was happy I was able to use up a higher end candle. I just didn't like how sooty this ended up being. Okay, let's move into wax melts. Oh, so many of them. I will go by brand. I do have literally a few that are not in baggies, so I will just bring those in as I talk about that particular brand. You're going to notice some clear themes as I go through here. All right, theme number one is I really wanted to focus on older wax, specifically from Dessa's Homespun scents. I thankfully wrote a while ago, I've been starting to write on wax as it comes into my life when I purchased it. And I, back in July of 2021, so we're talking 3 years ago, purchased, and this might have been one of my last purchases from her. I could be wrong. She had two samplers that were both Disney themed. And one, I love a sampler because it spares me having to pour through really long scent lists and trying to pick and choose what I want. I just like a curation. And this one was also Disney themed. And she came out with two. And I just blindly bought both of them. In reality, there was a lot of crossover, not necessarily like the exact same scent names, but same type of scent profiles that you didn't need both, but I bought both. And I just hadn't melted them. They just got buried in my wax collection. So I pulled them out because it's at this point some of my older wax, and I was like, let's just go ahead and get these melted across the board. And I cannot tell if this is because they are older or because things have changed. I don't know. But I found that I wasn't getting as great of scent throw and scent longevity as I am accustomed to with Dessa's. Case in point, some of these wax tarts were maybe about like this big, and I would cut them in half, and I would find that it would require the whole tart or the whole wax melt to get a sufficient scent. And even then, it didn't last as long as I was used to. So I'm just going to read you through the ones that I actually melted, but all in all, I just wasn't as pleased with them. But I just don't know if that is because they are at this point 3 years old, or if it is that they just didn't have as much fragrance oil as typically I would receive in other Dessa's wax melts. I don't know. So I have Journey Over Pandora, New Orleans Beignets, Main Street Waffle, Evil Queen Elixir, Churro Cart, Caramel Coffee, Mint Julep Bar, Funnel Cake, Mad as a Hatter, Main Street Sweets, Cinderella's Pumpkin Carriage, Spoonful of Sugar, The Forest, Devil's Bayou, Fairy Godmother, Haunted Doom Buggy, Under the Sea, Be Our Royal Guest, Coffee on Main, and then I had one sample that came with the set, which is Pumpkin Zucchini Bread. You might have heard as I read those off, some of them, like a lot of the bakery ones, kind of had the same type of base notes. So when they were warmed up, there wasn't a lot of differentiation. So Not super thrilled with them. Like there weren't a lot of standouts there, but they were really cute wax melts. And then I also had a bunch that I wanted to melt through from, I think, not this past Christmas, the Christmas before. That might have been my last Dessa's purchase. I, for some reason, didn't put the year on these, but I did recall maybe buying an advent calendar. And same thing here. I was putting the whole wax melt in. These did a little bit better. They lasted a little bit longer, but again, I don't know why I had to put the whole tart in. I'm used to being able to do halves of stuff, but whatever. So I have Winter Snow Globe, which was sugar cookies, vanilla bean Noel, gooey marshmallow, crushed candy cane, and white chocolate drizzle. This one was super yummy. Really enjoyed it. Then I had chestnuts roasting on an open fire, which was chestnuts, brown sugar, sugar cookies, and marshmallow fireside. Just okay for me, scent profile. Warm Winter Wishes, apple streusel, circus concession, and toasted marshmallow. Just came across as like a basic bakery type of scent. You Had Me at Ho 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 was apple cider donuts, caramel apples, butterscotch bourbon sauce. Again, same thing here. It was like a very similar type of bakery, general bakery sweet scent. North Pole Bakery was gingerbread, sugar cookies, and candy canes. I did like the mint, the candy cane part of that. Gingerbread House was gingerbread, molasses, vanilla, and cloves. Just okay for me. Wasn't my favorite scent profile. Main Street Christmas was cranberry, bayberry, crushed cinnamon, orange zest, and fresh pine needles. The pine wasn't as prominent as I wanted it to be. The cinnamon really swallowed it. And then Country Christmas was apples, oranges, cinnamon, and cloves. Again, the cinnamon became too dominant there for me. So a lot of Dessa's stuff. I'm still, despite that big pile of Disney wax, I still have more, not as many, but more that I'm working through. I'm just trying to melt those first and then bring in some other stuff that I'm also melting. Then I have a couple from Rainbow Melts. These are even older. This is Elf Sweat, which was sweet, spicy, and bubbly. It's from December of 2020. This, despite being really old, did have pretty good scent performance. It did last longer than I thought it would, but it wasn't my favorite scent, hence why I think it's kind of been hanging around. And then Sleigh Bells was from November of 2019. This is Silver Birch and Blackberry Jam. This is actually a good scent, but I can tell why I didn't melt it sooner. This, despite being Christmassy based, to me is not a Christmas scent. It's more for this time of year, and I must have just like continued to skip over it. So happy that I melted through, again, some pretty old wax. I also have some from Supertarts. I have one clamshell, which was Candyman. This is such a good scent. I have quite a few of these clamshells. It's so good. This is dark chocolate, honeycomb, and butter brickle. This is not a scent that many people in my life like. My sister hates when I melt this one at my house. She always makes a negative comment. And Ben also is not a big fan of it, but I just can't help it. It's such a strong thrower. This is a 1 cube wonder. I very rarely can only put in 1 cube of any wax tart or clamshell that I'm melting, but this one is 1 and it lasts for actual days. It's super good. I am glad that I have more of it. And then I have 2 in bags. I have from my Fake and Bake sampler, I have Fake and Bake Clementine Raspberry Zinger. So yummy. And then I have this, which was Fresh Start / Princess of Power. It was fine. It was a sample, nothing very special that I was really into. Final vendor before we talk about Better Homes and Gardens is my favorite, Broadway Wax. It seems like there is one more purchase that I can make from Broadway Wax, and then I think she's gonna shut down shop. I don't quite know, but I have been melting through her wax because 1, I love it, and 2, I have a surplus of it, so it's good to treat myself. She is somebody who gives a lot of samples, which is both a blessing and a curse because I'm inundated with them and I feel compelled to melt them before larger bags. It feels more rewarding to melt through a lot of little bags versus one larger bag, just my logic there. But for bags, I have Someone in the Crowd, which is strawberry shortcake, wild berry mousse, and raspberry sangria. So yummy, so delightful. Then we have The Perfect Fall, which was pumpkin creamer, leaves, and apple orchard. Again, a very pleasant scent. Angry and Sweet was Angry Orchard and Sweet Whiskey. This one I didn't love. I was super into the idea of it, but something about it, it wasn't cohesive enough. I don't know what it was, but I just didn't end up loving it when I was melting it down. Then we've got Toucha, which was blackberry jam butter, cookie, blueberry cobbler, blueberry jam, and blueberry cheesecake. It was a very nice blueberry-based scent. Then there is, from an advent calendar, day 6, strawberry pound cake, eggnog, and Mrs. Claus cookies. This one was super yummy. Very nice, very delightful. Very happy to have gone through all of these larger bags. And then I think these were all samples that I received. So I have yellow cake, country cream, vanilla bean Noel, vanilla ice cream, and blue raspberry jam. Blue raspberry is not one of my favorite scents. It's very domineering and it just takes over everything and I don't love it. So I didn't love this one. Brazilian Boom Boom, which is Brazilian Crush, Zil de Janeiro, and Vanilla Santal Shea Butter. So good. Fluffy Tropical Treat, Fluffy Beach Towels, Tropical Treats, and Jellyfish Bubbles. This was not my favorite. Black Forest, which was balsam fir, smoked vanilla, clementine, black pepper, bergamot. Also very tasty. Holiday drink was candy cane macchiato. I don't know. I don't drink coffee. Simmering snowflake, marshmallow bomb, peppermint cocoa. Just so. And then strawberry Santa with strawberry pound cake, serendipity, cookies for Santa, and butter cookie. Also so nice. And then I managed to allow myself to melt one from the Boom Boom sampler, which, and then I allowed myself to melt down one from the Beach Night sampler, which was Salty Nights, Beach Nights, Palo Santo, and Salty Sea Air. So good. This is actually a part of the May restock. And I'm going to try to get my hands on 2 of them because I am super obsessed with this particular sampler. It's just the best. Finally, let's talk about Better Homes and Gardens. So I have this one clamshell called Fall into Autumn, which was acorns, green apple, applewood, red cedar, leaves, and pear scent notes. It's nice. It's very much of a fall scent, but I just wanted to finish it off. I'm not somebody who likes to, once I pull wax out of my closet and disperse it amongst my house to melt, even if I don't get through it in that particular season, I'm not prone to wanting to put it back in my actual closet, so I'll just melt it. This was good. I'm a 2 cube at a time person for this, and it lasts me a couple of days. It's very nice, good, strong throw. Very happy with it. However, I also have this. Oh yeah, this is an advent calendar. Literally, the winter, December of 2022, I went advent wax calendar crazy, and Better Homes and Gardens had one of these. I was super jazzed about it. I thought it was super fun to see something mainstream at a local Walmart store. It was very inexpensive. I think it was maybe $12, maybe $10. And I was super pumped about it. I decided to make an effort in my like wax melting position to melt this down first. And in the end, it was overall disappointing. Let me explain. So within the 12 wax melts, there were these particular scents. You had vanilla bean and myrrh, which was vanilla bean, sandalwood, myrrh, tonka, amber, and cedarwood. Balsam and birch, Fraser fir, balsam, blue spruce, cypress, cedar, and birch. Blue fern and citrus, which was citrus, green, floral, amber, moss, and wood. Candy cane and cream, candy cane, buttercream, vanilla, bean, and peppermint. And then snow cherry and macaron, cherry, cranberry, champagne, vanilla bean, and macaron. So you only had 5 scents dispersed amongst 12 wax melts, which is kind of strange. And like, okay, I can get behind you didn't want to do 12 different ones. This was only like $10. Fine. But why not do 6 and do 2 of each of the scent? First piece of feedback. Second, when you went to open them, you can see if you look closer up, the different shapes corresponded to the different scents. And as you can see, sometimes you'd open them up and you'd have the back-to-back scent, but other times you wouldn't. It was a little bit strange in that regard. So when I was opening them, because I did just open them one at a time, I didn't always find myself wanting to repeat the scent, or I did want more of it but didn't know where it was. And arguably I could have just opened these all at once and that would have rectified that problem, but it's defeats the purpose of being an advent calendar, whatever. And then some scents were basically scentless and some had decent scent throw. My final thoughts on this, because it's kind of pro and con, is I wouldn't buy this again. I love the idea of it. I think it has a lot of potential, but it didn't perform as well as the actual clamshells. And I don't know if that's because it was so cheap, so they didn't do a very good job with it, but I'd be willing to pay a higher price point for this if it were better quality and a bit more thought out. So super fun idea. I love the sense of it being out of Walmart compared to just seeing it in the third-party wax vendor world, but execution could have been a lot better from them, but still kind of fun nonetheless. It still was a good use of my $10 in my opinion. So there you have it. That is all of the wax I have melted in the last 3 to 4 months. Feels really good to have made some steady progress. It does once again remind me that I need to be doing less purchasing and more focusing on using up what I have. And I feel like I'm doing a better job of that now that I have 3 wax melters dispersed amongst my house with different wax melts going at any given time. That will help me expedite my usage, which is just pleasant to see all around. But as always, thank you so much for being here, spending some of your day with me, and I'll catch you in my next video real soon. Bye.